All right, welcome to this second demonstration for the Photoshop interface. In this particular demonstration, we're going to look at how to open a new document or how to create a new document, and also how to open images into Photoshop. Let's get started. First off, to create a new document in Photoshop, we're going to go to File from the top menu, and we're going to go to New. From here, we're giving a pop-up window that gives us information about the new document we want to create. First thing we do is we name our document. So I recommend working with the file naming conventions or file naming style that I recommend for your project materials that you turn in. Excuse me. So at the time that I'm making this one, I'm just putting in the current date, but you'll want to make sure that you put in the correct semester term and the year that you are in for the course. So we'll put that in there, and we'll also follow that with little underscores and put in the project number. So we can put in project 1. Below that, we'll keep moving down. They offer some things like document type you can use, like standard design documents if you want to, that are listed here. And then below that, we're going to enter in independent information. So we're going to make sure our document is set to an 8-inch width. Make sure that you switch when you're ready to type it. Switch the units that you measure by over here. Again, I'm measuring with inches. So please make sure that you change that unit to inches. And it should switch for height as well as your resolution. So we need an 8-inch width and a 10-inch height for this particular document that we're using for the demonstration. When working with your own image, the project specifications and requirements do allow you to create images that are 10 by 8 or 8 by 10. And that's basically changing the dimensions from a vertical image to a horizontal image or landscape. So you have those options available. Now for our demo, we'll leave it as an 8 by 10. Resolution, this is particularly important to pay attention to for Photoshop, as all images used in Photoshop are resolution dependent, which means that this number affects the quality of the imagery. So the higher the number is, the higher the quality. But depending on what your output is going to be or what you're going to use it for, you may need lower resolution or higher. For our purposes with working with a photograph, we want a decent resolution, so we're going to leave it at about 240 ppi, or pixels per inch. And that's just a basic measurement that you can use. It's based on screen resolution. But we're going to use 240. Anywhere between 240 and 300 ppi is standard for photographic printing on an inkjet printer. And so we'll just use that for our purposes. Color mode, we're going to leave it RGB. This is basic red, green, blue for monitor calibration. We also have a color bit depth, which allows you to pack in more color data into each pixel. You may notice that as you move your mouse over each of these, it gives you a little tool definition, little yellow pop-up, or a tool help tip, so you can actually see what it tells you about each of these things that you select on. So that's really helpful in Photoshop to have that. We're not going to change the background setting or any of the advanced settings. The advanced settings let you set the color profile, so what color it sends with the document so it reads it accurately on other machines. And also pixel aspect ratio for displaying on monitors or TV screens. So we'll leave these set as this, 8 by 10 at 240, and say OK. And this will launch a fresh document into Photoshop, as we can see right here. This is what is our new canvas, this white bordered in area. And this is where we'll work. Now that we have our document activated in Photoshop, we're going to go ahead and open some images. Now, the images that I'm going to be using for this demonstration can be found in Blackboard with this first exercise. You can download directly off of the Photoshop interface page. So please make sure that you do that if you wish to follow along with this exercise. You are, of course, welcome to play with your own images. when working with your own project. But as far as following the demo, if you want to keep up with it, you may want to go ahead and download those images that I provided for you. Now I'm going to go ahead and open them. So I'm going to go to File, and I'm going to go to Open. And I'm going to go and navigate to where my files were downloaded to, which is on my desktop. And in Mac, I'm just kind of using the shortcut menu over here to get to my desktop quickly, which is really helpful. So I'm going to go to Demo Images, and inside I've got a collection of about 5 images to use. So I'm going to just select all of them like this and click Open. And then what Photoshop will do in the background, you'll notice, is that it will quickly load up each of the images into Photoshop's system. Now it does not drop them into my new document. You may notice that the interface looks a little different. Look right across here and you can see that there's tabs all docked together at the top. And this is each of the new images we just opened up. So this is Photoshop's way of storing images or multiple documents in Photoshop to keep it kind of a clean interface, so you don't have a lot of stuff floating around everywhere. So let's take a look at our at what we have out here. You'll notice that each one's docked together. It tells you the name of the file up here at the top. It also tells you, it gives you an @ symbol and then a percentage. That percentage is actually the level of zoom that you are viewing the image at in Photoshop. So it's zoomed in by 16%. We also have a number here inside parentheses, RGB and 8. This indicates the color mode or color bit depth and the color and the bit depth mode for your image that you're currently working with. Sometimes other information will pop in here to indicate what you're working on inside of an image. Like you may have a mask, something called a mask turned on, or other function, and that will show up here to let you know that that is currently activated for the canvas you're working on. Now that we have all of these opened up, we are pretty well good to go on editing and working through the rest of our document work in Photoshop. So from here, what we'll do is that the next step we'll follow is moving all of our images into a Photoshop canvas. And so I will get with you and we will talk about that in just a moment with the next video. Take care.